What would it be like to wake up with a huge smile on your face every single morning because you were gonna sell something? I mean, I know those two words sometimes clash with each other. Wait a second, Ed, I'm gonna wake up in the morning with a smile on my face so that I can sell something? Yes. What would it be like to have a box of thank you notes that's so big that the lid won't even close because there are hundreds and hundreds of thank you notes from people who bought something from you? You know, that's possible when you develop sales boldness. It's possible when you see yourself properly, when you see your customer properly, and when you see your service properly. We're going to talk about all three. EdTalks Live is next. Yo, what's up, party people? Ed Rush here, 5-time #1 best-selling author, your host for the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. We're here in the middle of Top Gun week. By the way, this week and next, we are live broadcasting the Top Gun Consulting course that's going on. And in the training, it's still not too late to get in. The website's below, edrush.com/topgun. Inside the training, we're actually about a third of the way through this manual showing you how to make a bunch of money. I've got like something going on right here. So don't worry, I only have to talk for the next 3 hours. So welcome to everybody who's just joined us. Jump in on the right-hand side on chat. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, I got like 3 viewers on Twitter. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, then jump in below and tell us what's up. My man, Mike Toy, good to see you, buddy, who was in early on. Mike was here at 1 hour and 15 minutes before, dude. I love it. Good to see you, buddy. As well, Barry, Roy, all 3 of you, and Diana are all inside. Gina as well, all inside of Top Gun Consulting. So we're gonna have a blast this morning. Hey, Jim. Oh, my man, Rob. I was just thinking about you yesterday. I was teaching Rob my 21-day consultant miracle, and as I pulled up my phone and the contacts on my phone, I was going through the A section as a demonstration, and sure enough, in the A's is Rob Actis, who is always in the front of the row when they lined people up alphabetically in school. So if you guys don't know Rob, one of the world's most premier voiceover artists. He's been the voice of Miracle Morning. He's been the voice of 21 Day Miracle. He's also the voice of Sharp Healthcare, which is hysterical. So I'm gonna tell the story anyway, Rob, just because I feel like it. So 2 years ago, I had Sharp as my medical service provider. And I don't know how you feel about your medical service for your family, but they're basically all awful, and they're basically all evil. And so there was a billing issue. Sharp was charging me too much money, and I got on the phone. I'm gonna tell these people. I'm gonna teach them a lesson, man. You know when you're talking about, like, when you get on the phone with customer service and you are going to fix the entire company by talking to that poor woman whose only job is to answer your phone call. All right, so I called Sharp, okay, and then and what happened is, as I called, sometimes you've experienced this before, they put you on hold, okay, so I get on hold. They're like, our operators are really busy, and now my frustration went from like a 5 to like a 9, okay, and I'm like, the pot's about the kettle's about, the top's about to blow off the kettle. And I'm gonna really, really, really give it to this lady, okay, for overbilling. And then all of a sudden I hear this voice. And this voice comes in and says, "Hi, welcome to Sharp. Just so you know, you're family here. And we care about you. Let me tell you some of the stories of people who've had great experience." And it's Rob's voice. It is the smooth voice of my friend. It's the voice of my friend, and I'm at a 9. I'm at a 9, and as Rob keeps, I was on hold for like 20 minutes, and then the 20 minutes I was on hold, I went from like a 9 to like a 0. I'm like, man, I just love Rob Actis, man. I just love Rob. So I'm just telling you, if you want to treat customer service people right, pretend it's your friend. It was the funniest thing. I thought, how interesting is it that a guy that I like, even just his voice calmed me down. Anyway, what's up, David? Good to see you. David Zetz, my man, on Tuesday, crushing EdTalks Live. David's coming back next Tuesday, or at least I hope so. I asked him. He hasn't said anything back. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you guys. Yeah, you're awesome, man. What's up, B-Rad? Oh, man. Good to see you as well. Hey, Robert. Champions and Top Gun pilots. What's up, Celie? You've been the voice of, I didn't even know that you've been in business for 27 years. Rob, you and I need to hook up, dude. We had an awesome phone call last time I talked to you. All right, so today's topic is not to talk about healthcare with Sharp Healthcare. Welcome to the family of Sharp. I'm like, Rob, trying to be upset here. You're not letting me be upset. You're here at Sharp Healthcare. We think about you as family. I'm like, you don't think about me as family, Sharp. Rob does. So, all right. So today we're going to talk about how to develop sales boldness. I teased it in the intro. Sales boldness comes down to three things: how you view yourself, how you view your prospect, and how you view you. And I will tell you that most people who sell anything get. David said, "Oh yeah, well that's fine, dude. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just." Yeah, no, I know. That's great. So Jeff Hansen, so I'm going to teach this stuff in a second, but now we're just having fun. So yesterday inside of Top Gun, I taught a technique called strategically unavailable, and he said maybe David was strategically honestly, you don't have to answer my text right away. I'm not going to be offended. It just so happened that the show was on, so I got to talk about you. All right, so today we're going to talk about how to develop sales boldness. If you've been inside with me on Top Gun Consulting Toolkit, this will be the basics of some of the advanced stuff that we've been talking about in terms of mindset. But there will be some new things. So if you're inside of Top Gun, there's definitely going to be some new things for you, and also some things that you may have heard but you needed to hear again. So I'm going to jump up onto the whiteboard, and I'm going to go maybe for about 20 minutes today. Just so you know, we've got our training that goes from 11 to 1 Pacific time, the Top Gun. So normally these EdTalks live shows, I go for about an hour. Today I'm going to go for about maybe 30, 35 minutes. That'll give you some great content, give me a little break before we jump on for our Top Gun friends. All right, so let me jump up to the whiteboard. All right, let's talk about how to develop sales boldness. The first thing I'm going to just tell you is, for you, I believe, if it's anything like me, it will be a complete mindset shift for you when you think about sales the way that I'm going to think about sales. Now, encourage you to think about sales. Now, the way that we typically think about sales is like, Ron Popeil, remember the old chopper hopper things where you're like, and then you can do this, and then you can do this, and then you can do this. And if you've ever gone to the state fair, you remember the state fair where you're like, the person like, come on over here, check out this new blender, and next thing you know, you're buying like a $300 blender. You're like, how did I end up buying a $300 blender? Well, that's the sales that people have gotten used to. Or for example, when you walk onto a used car lot, or for that matter, a new car lot. Like, I don't know the last time you've been on a car lot, but it's like the same thing every time. I'm gonna turn this fan down just a little bit, hang on. It's like the same thing every time there's like 7 guys all standing, leaning up against the window of the car dealership. They've got like those black jackets, I'm talking about, those black jackets, and they've got like a styrofoam cup of coffee, and they're just out there talking, and then you walk onto the lot, and one of those 7 guys comes out and says, like, so hey, what you interested in today? And now you're in the selling environment. And so most people, when they grow up with the idea that sales is this schmarmy, persuasive, manipulative way of approaching things. One of my favorite sales indoctrination stories is one of my longtime friends. Literally, I've known this guy and been close with him since I was 17. Is one of the top executives at General Motors. And he grew up in GM as a sales guy, actually selling parts. And he has 7 kids. So when his second daughter was like 2 or 3 years old, he had this book that he used to read to her every night. And in the book, all of the professions were personified. And so there was the gardening butterfly, and there was the delivery bear, and there was the companion dog. Like, all of the professions had personifications with an animal. And like the police hound, and when he got to the part of the person selling something, of course, the person was selling something door to door, which I don't think anybody does anymore. And the personification was a sales pig, okay? It was a sales pig. And he's like, here I am, a lifetime salesman, and I'm reading to my daughter, and all of the animals are wonderfully personified until I got to the sales pig. He's like, and she's like, Daddy, what's your profession? He's like, I'm the sales pig. So that's the way sales is viewed. But what I'm gonna hopefully give you is a total mindset shift. And I'm gonna do it in 3 different ways. I'm gonna show you a different way of thinking about persuasion, influence, connecting better with your market, and getting them to buy something, okay? And you all know, I have no qualms. I have no qualms with the idea of offering products or services or consulting or sales. I'll just tell you, I have been blessed to have lifelong friendships with people who initially paid me $20,000 or $30,000 for a coaching day. Think about that for a second. I mean, it's amazing what you can do when you help people get what they want. And by the way, if you just joined us, and many of you just did, this is a show called How to Develop Sales Boldness. My name is Ed Rush. This is Ed Talks Live. If you haven't already done so, jump into chat, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. And while I'm on the subject, we're rocking it live right now at the Top Gun Consulting training. You can still get in on the live trainings. Full disclosure, all of it's going into a membership site. I'm going to be offering this course continually over the next year or two. But when you get in now, you get into the live trainings where you get to interact and get your questions answered, which does not happen after this course goes live. Okay, so back to the, and by the way, if you're already in Top Gun, because I see like most of you in chat already are, jump in and tell somebody who's thinking about it to get their butt off the fence. All right, so here we're going to talk about this. So your mindset shift goes in 3 ways. Number 1, the most important thing you can do to develop boldness for sales is to view yourself properly. Okay. Now, when I tell most people you need to view yourself properly, most people go, "Oh, I know," and they actually bring themselves down, like, "Oh, I know, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said so many great things about myself." And when I say view yourself properly, I'm always talking about going in the other direction. Here's why, by the way. I've had over 452 one-on-one coaching and consulting clients. From the 452, I can tell you that exactly 452 of the 452 were undervaluing their products, undervaluing their own worth, under marketing their services. Now, I'm not sure if you follow statistics or if you even studied statistics, but 452 out of 452 is a statistically significant number. That means 0% of my high-end coaching and consulting clients. I'm talking about some of these people had 17 million, 4 million, 2 million, 7 million, 25 million. These are actual numbers, 40 million, actual numbers of the businesses of the people that I'm thinking of, who every single one of them undervalued and under-marketed themselves and underviewed the way that they should view themselves. And I can tell you with 100% transparency, authenticity, and authority that there's a 100% chance that you're undervaluing yourself as well, okay? And so the first step is to see you. And I'll tell you where the triggers are. I see this all the time. I'll have somebody at an event, for example, and usually if you come to my events, not every break, but usually 1 or 2 breaks during the day, I'll just walk to the back and just connect with the folks who are there so that I can get to know you better and get to know what you want to do with your business, and so that I can help tailor the content that I'm teaching specifically to you. And this happens every time, usually on the first day, because I haven't taught it yet. I'll walk up and I'll say, "Hey man, what's your name?" And the guy will be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man? My name's Tony." I said, "Tony, tell me what you do." And you will literally see the whole body language, okay? And it goes like this, almost always goes like this. The shoulders come down, their head comes down, and they go, the next words out of their mouth is, "Oh, I'm just a consultant." It comes out like that, shoulders, head, and then, "Oh, I'm just," okay? So if you've ever said these words about you, now a lot of times that happens when, like for example, if I was like meeting with Warren Buffett, my temptation would be like, "Oh, I'm just like an online presence and marketer." That's it. But what I decided several years ago was that "I'm just," that phrase is now out of my vocabulary. Because I'm just is taking yourself far lower than you should, okay? Or you'll hear someone say, Ed, we're nothing special. Or I'm nothing special. Okay, now, I want you to think about this for a second. Let's say, and I'm going to use this from a guy's perspective because that's me, but you can flip it around for however you approach your attraction, okay? But let's say you're a guy, right? And you find this woman, and you're like, whoa. You know what I'm talking about? Where you're just like, wow, and you're like, I think I'm going to ask her out on a date, but man, I'm really nervous. I'm not sure that I'm going to do it. But she blows you away, man. Then you go out on a date and she continues to blow you away. Great personality, laughs at your jokes, you guys connect immediately, and you are just taken over by how ravishing her beauty is to you. So you can keep going. You get engaged and then you get married, but you find out something really strange. You find out that she doesn't think that she's attractive at all. In fact, she thinks she's downright ugly. You're blown away by her. You still think she's the most beautiful thing in the world, and she doesn't think she's all that attractive at all. And as the conversation keeps going, it goes something like this. You're like, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And she says, that's not true. I'm just really ugly. You're like, no, trust me, you are amazing. I mean, every day I wake up and I thank God that I'm able to just be next to you. And she's like, I don't think I believe you. I don't think that I find myself attractive. And then finally, as this conversation goes, finally, you know what you're going to say? You're going to say, what do you think of me? I mean, do you think I'm a person that makes bad decisions? Do you think that I'm a person that has bad taste? I mean, if you don't think you're as beautiful as I think you are, what that's telling me is maybe you don't think I'm very smart. You don't think I've got good taste, because I can tell you, I think you're amazing. See, how you view yourself is actually more of a reflection of how you think you were created. And I'm not going to go too deep spiritually, but I'm going to go in there just a little bit. I will tell you that the reason why we have issues with how we view ourselves is because we have issues with our identity. Okay, now, Jeff Kemp started talking about this a couple weeks ago on the show. I mentioned it just a week ago or so as well. And I'm not going to go too far on this. We'll do some more on this probably later on, but I will tell you that most people have an issue right here in identity. I'm not going to go psychology here. I'm not even going to give you some exercises I could give you, and some of you have been to my events, and we've done exercises like this. But generally speaking, identity issues start in one of three places, okay? It starts either with your relationship with your dad, your relationship with your mom, or your relationship with your friends or siblings. See those three categories I just gave you? Father, mother, friends, siblings, right? You might have had a great mom and dad, but you went to school and the kids made fun of you, and all of a sudden that affected your identity. Or you may have had great friends and a great dad, but your mom always yelled at you all the time and she was super mean. Or you may have had great friends and a great mom, but your dad really never thought you could do anything right, okay? So that's an identity thing, and oftentimes that's where that comes from. So the cure to be able to do this, and this is what I help people do all the time at our events, is to reset your identity so that you're viewing yourself through the lens of the God that created you. Yesterday on Top Gun, I mentioned a verse, which is Romans 12:3. Romans 12:3 says, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought to think. Most people, when they read that, are like, I know I should think of myself really low. No, what that verse is encouraging you to do is to remember that you are created a son or a daughter of a king, of a creator who really thinks you're amazing, okay? And if you were the son or daughter of the president, I know some of you are like, I would never want to be the son or daughter of the president. Look, I'm not talking about your political opinion. You pick the president you want. You go back to Lincoln or Reagan, Bush, I don't care, Clinton, Ford, it doesn't matter, okay? If you're a son or a daughter of the president, you know what you can do? You can just walk into the White House. You and I can't do that right now. We just walk into the White House, we get shot. If you try to walk in the White House, right, you will get shot, okay, without an invitation. But as a son or a daughter, you just walk right in. See, sons and daughters have privileges, and I want you to start thinking of yourself the way that you were created, which is you are amazing, okay? Now, I'm going to go to the customer in a second, and then we're going to start to wrap up, but before I do that, I want to jump into chat. Boom. What's up, Brad? Good to see you as well. Thank you, Roy. You are amazing. You follow Roy and David Zetz on Instagram. Roy Red and Coach Zetz. Thank you, Robert. You're such a positive guy, dude. I love it. All right, cool. Thank you guys for your incredible and positive comments. By the way, if you just joined me, that's not it. The course that they're talking about is right below you, edrush.com/topgun. You can still get in while you get a chance to get some coaching, okay? All right, let's keep rocking and rolling here. I've got two more things for you, and then we're going to start to wrap up the show. All right, the second thing is how you view your customer. There's something that drives me nuts. You'll hear salespeople, especially in groups where there's sales teams, and they will talk about their prospects and they'll use this term, my target. Now, I'm a fighter pilot, right? So I like the term target. I like it, especially when it's related to goals. I don't say goals typically. Typically I say target. The reason I don't say goals is because I didn't play soccer, and that's not my thing, okay? But I can hit targets. I love targets. But when it comes to a sales environment, I think it is truly disingenuous to call your prospects targets. They're people, okay? And target creates the mindset that they are something to be shot at and potentially to be destroyed, okay? So when you look at your customer, remember this. Your entire business, your entire offering, all of your services, all of the products that you create and offer, everything revolves like a solar system around your customer. Most businesses are completely convinced that their entire service package, offering, revenue, everything revolves around them. You ever work for one of those people? For real, have you ever worked for one of those people where everything is about them? I can't do it. Okay, it's not about me, I. It's about you. Which is why, like for example, just the other day, one of my really good friends sent me a job posting. On the job posting, every sentence, basically every other sentence, started with I. I said, well, that's normal. That's a normal job. When you're talking about yourself, normally you say I. I said, see if you can write this whole thing in the second person. See if you can write a job posting where you're talking about the person and the value that you're going to provide to them and to their company. So it ends up working on the customer. Now, we're going to go quite deep on this together. We already have when it comes to Top Gun. But really, fundamentally, the person that you're connecting with is the person that you're helping. And that's the way you look at it. In fact, one of my friends, Jonathan Sprinkles, I have coaching clients that I call my coaching clients. When Jonathan talks about his clients, he says one of the people that I've helped. I think that's actually a really good frame. It's a really good way to say, I say clients so people know they paid me. But he says, one of the people that I helped, and he'll tell a story, and he calls his clients the people that I've helped. I think that's a really good frame to understand how that works, okay? The last one, though, is how you frame your service. Okay, I'm gonna say service. It could be your product, it could be your consulting or whatever it is, okay? And how you frame your service. Now, the fact is, most people, when they view what they offer into the marketplace, they view it as the same as basically everyone else, okay? So for example, if you happen to have some sort of Facebook presence, you're like, yeah, it's like similar to this person, this person, this person, and this person. Or if you have some sort of consulting, let's say you help people like manage their social media. And most people who do that think, I'm similar to all these other people. But I've always tried to create what I call a category of one. In other words, I've always helped try to have people make a decision between me or not me. Yes, Ed, or no, Ed. Not yes, Ed. Not do I work with Ed, or do I work with Brendan Bouchard, or do I work with Bo Easton? Do I work? No, I want people to make a decision. Do I work with him or not? Because obviously I'm going to work with him. It's just do I work with him? Yes or no? Do I have the ability right now? Do I have the desire? Do I have the resources to be able to do that? I'm giving people, or hoping to give people, a simple yes or no question. This is called creating a unique selling proposition. Yesterday inside of Top Gun, I taught the 6 main ways, 7 actually, it's an inside joke, the 7 ways to position yourself in your business. This is helping you to create a category of one, but also perception-wise, it's you seeing your services as truly unique. There are 20 different ways to create what I call, what I just mentioned, which is a unique selling proposition. Let me give you one of the most famous, unique selling propositions. Domino's Pizza. When Domino's came out, the idea of delivering pizza was very commonplace. In fact, you open up the Yellow Pages, I don't know if you remember, there was this book, it was yellow, it had all of the businesses in your area. It was basically Yelp on a book that was about that thick. And if you wanted pizza, you literally flipped the Yellow Pages to the P section, which required you to know the order of the alphabet. I won't go there. Then you had to go to the PI section. At the end of the PI section, there were all these pizza places that were near you. And you would call, and it would be like, Sal's Pizza, pick up or delivery. You're like, hey, Sal, I want a large pepperoni pizza. He's like, no problem, man. What's your address? And you tell me your address, and about an hour and 45 minutes later, some dude from Sal's would show up with the pizza, and the cardboard was all mushy. You know what I'm talking about. Back in the day, okay? So, hour and 45-minute pizza delivery being standard. Pizza not even being hot, being standard, okay? So Domino's Pizza shows up. Domino's Pizza says, hot, fresh, pizza, delivered in 30 minutes, guaranteed. You know what's amazing about Domino's? They didn't even tell you, they didn't even say it tastes good. Because it didn't. What they said was, hot, fresh pizza, delivered in 30 minutes, guaranteed. That's a unique selling proposition. Was Domino's unique? No. They were just another pizza place. In fact, Sal's Pizza actually had better pizza. You and I both know the local pizza place had better pizza, but the local pizza place got run out of business by a place called Domino's because they said we would deliver it in 30 minutes. And by the time they got a lawsuit and had to not say 30 minutes, they already had market domination, okay? So part of your service is creating the perception. That word perception is actually quite important, that you're unique in your service in what you provide, okay? Finally, and then this is it. We're going to wrap up for today. Finally, your next steps after properly viewing yourself, after properly viewing your customer and properly viewing your service, the very next thing to do is to ask and 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 to ask for the sale. Okay? I can't stress what I just said enough. Ask, look. If I do a webinar, I send out 3 or 4 emails just to get people to come to the free thing. Some people get 4 or 5 emails to come to the free thing. That's me asking like 5 times to come to something free. I mean, how many times on this, if you want to join, go to edrush.com/ go below. This course is amazing. What do you guys, I mean, this is asking. This is asking because if you truly believe that what you have will change people's lives, you owe it to people to ask. You're actually morally in the wrong for not asking, okay? Ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. Because if it's good for them and it's good for the world, then they need to get it in their hands, and you need to ask and you need to ask and you need to ask. There's only one other step to this, by the way. There's ask and then answer their questions. Most people, when you ask them for the sale, will follow up with a question. I need to sleep on it. I need to ask my wife. I don't know about the price. It might be a little bit high. Do you offer a guarantee? How do I know this is going to work? Those are all called sales objections. Okay, I just call them questions. There's nothing wrong with those, but once you get through those, something amazing happens. You get paid. And someone else gets what they want, and they're going to send you a thank you note, and you're going to have a great relationship because you had the boldness to ask for the sale. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to jump back here and just chat for a moment, and then we're going to wrap up today's show. So this is it. Total mindset shift. Number 1, how you view you. Number 2, how you view your customer. And number 3, how you view your service. I'm going to jump back here to camera 1, and then we're going to wrap it up. But hopefully that was helpful. Tell me in chat your biggest takeaway from what you learned. And if you're watching this on video, tell me right below in the comment section. Very good stuff. Love it. Diana, thank you very much. I make me laugh too. I just learned. I've been doing these EdTalks since March, and I like speaking to live audiences, Diana. That's my real zone. And I learned there's nobody here to laugh, thanks to coronavirus. I wish I could just bring a couple people and just sit in my studio. I used to do that, by the way. When I used to work with Mike Koenigs, we used to actually bring some of our team members to sit in the studio so that when I made some offhanded funny comment, everybody would laugh and I'd feel better about myself. But then I just decided, Diana, there's nobody here, so I might as well laugh at my own jokes. So that I'm my own laugh track. Thank you. Unique value. Ooh, yeah, baby. UVP. I really like that. Old school, baby. Old school Yellow Pages. Biggest takeaway. Ask, 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 ask. So, yes, that's awesome. So here's the thing about asking. Yo, my man John. What's up, dude? I haven't talked to you forever, man. I hope you're doing great. The thing about asking is, see, what happens is we ask. The person doesn't respond. And a lot of times what you do then is you're like, oh man, they must not like me and they must not want this. And maybe they're offended. Maybe they're offended. You know what might have happened? They might have been like picking their kids up at school, trying to get the groceries into the car. The dog ran out and ran down the street. The baby threw up on her seat. Okay, like this is like almost all true, okay? I mean, I've experienced this. The baby throws up on the seat. While they're scrolling through their email, they accidentally clicked your email. They didn't read it because the baby just threw up, but now it's unread and they don't see it ever again. And you're over there like, oh my gosh, I don't think they like me, you know? And they didn't even see it. They didn't even see it. Or they saw it and they're like, oh, that's great. I'm definitely gonna respond to Gina. And then they forgot. You've done that before, right? They forgot. And so here's the thing. When you ask, you simply give them another reminder, another reason to move forward, okay? All right, cool. Asking the right questions will also make people think you're super interesting without telling them anything about yourself. Yeah, no joke, man. And by the way, if you're like, I'm a nobody, well, fine. Then ask really good questions. And then you don't have to worry about being you because you're talking about them. Today in EdTalk, or today in Top Gun, we're talking about pricing. Tomorrow, we move into module 10, which is presenting, which in presenting, all it is asking great questions. Here are some of the questions I'm going to give you tomorrow. Pre-qualifying questions, implementation questions, decision maker frame questions, how to ask questions to find out if you have PITA clients. And if you don't know what PITA is, it's pain in the posterior. Questions to keep them engaged, leading questions, challenge questions, budget questions. It's all right in there. Which is why if you're not in the program, now's a great time to get in the program. Here's the link again. All right, so I'm going to wrap up today with just some motivation. You're pretty amazing, you know that? You really are. I know that you might not have been thinking about yourself like this for your entire life, but you really are. You're an amazing person who was created very uniquely to solve a certain problem in this world. If all of us simply understood what we were created to solve and we went to solve that problem, all the problems would go away. And I know that's very simplistic, but it is actually kind of simple. You're pretty amazing. So live like that. Why don't you just understand that God doesn't make junk and he doesn't make copies. He didn't make you as a backup plan for someone else. He made you as plan A with no plan B. Okay? So get out there, make the kind of money that you ought to make. Go ahead and help the kind of people that you need to help. And I'll see you next Tuesday. I'm bringing back David Zetz, by the way. We're talking about, I hope I'm bringing back David Zetz, if you ever text me back. I'm kidding. I know you're coming back. We're talking about how to turn, it was just a great show about how to use text message to conversation to get people to say yes. And I like that. The way to be interesting is to be interested. That's good. I like it. That's good. See you in 15 minutes. Oh, man. I could use some eggs too right now, man. All I had was avocado and some toast this morning. Woo! It's good. I'll get that one, John. I just have to wrap up today's show. That's a good question. That's a good question. By the way, if you want one question to keep the conversation going forward, say this. What else? If you don't know what to say what else. Then, if you absolutely have gotten to the end, say, so you ready to get started working together? That's asking, by the way. That's it right there. So, All right. We are going to wrap up today. Don't forget, I love you and I like you, and you're going to do amazing things in the world. Thank you for your time and attention. I'll see all you Top Gunners here in about 25 minutes inside the membership portal. EdTalks Live is out.